Let's talk tension. Now, tension gets a bad rap on a lot of machines, many machines. And on the Pfaff Ambition 620, you're going to notice there's actually not a tension dial anywhere on the front of the machine that you're going to change. But you are going to see that if you touch the I for information, the tension for each stitch comes up right here. That's the symbol for tension. It's the symbol of two discs squeezing together, and that's actually what's going on right in here when you have threaded the machine correctly. Now let me show you what happens when your machine is not threaded correctly. So if you've ever seen where your threads look like this, it means something is not in one of those areas that needs to be threaded. If you see lots of loops, maybe you didn't thread the take-up lever. Maybe your bobbin isn't in its tension down below. So make sure the machine is actually threaded correctly. But let's take a look at what tension actually means on this machine. So I went ahead and switched it back to stitch number 1. Did you notice that the tension went from 3.0 to 4.4? Now that number really doesn't make any difference, but this machine will get you into a ballpark for the tension needed for that stitch, which is great. So for example, if I pick a buttonhole, so that's stitch number 23 is one of them, you're going to notice that the tension is less than what it is for a straight stitch. If I pick that zigzag that I actually just stitched, and I switched to variegated thread, so you'll see something a little different on the back, so that was stitch 6. It's here, it went to 3. Okay, so what we want for stitches that are meant to be decorative or something like this is we want the threads to pull to the back. So if the number is less than what it was, it's looser, which means this thread down below is tighter. If you think of like a scale when you're weighing something, if you put something heavy on this side, it gets bigger or heavier. If you put something, if you make this heavier, then it goes the opposite way. So this tension or balance between the top tension and the thread below is all about less and it pulling more, or more and it's pulling up. So if you don't remember which way to go, when you do start to adjust tension, just know one's going to make it worse and one's going to make it better. Okay, so what is a good looking tension? So let's just sew a straight stitch. Now I happen to have two different weights of thread in this machine now. I've got a variegated thread in my needle and I have a slightly different brand of thread, similar weight but a different brand in the bobbin. So I should not be able to tell which side of the fabric I sewed from. Did I have the variegated thread in the needle, or was I over here and I had it in the bobbin? That is a good looking stitch. But when we start to pick some of those other stitches and it adjusts the tension for us, what it does is it lets the top thread be less and allow it to pull to the back side. And see how we're seeing some of the variegated thread back there? My bobbin is that hot pink thread, so it's pulled to the backside, and that looks amazing because that's what it's supposed to look like on the front. So depending on the decorative stitch you pick, you might notice different tensions. So what if you actually need to change the tension past what it's looking for? Your tension adjustment is actually in the settings. So you see right here it has the arrows pointing to the left or to the right. So go ahead and move it so it highlights the last one, or you can go back as well. So highlight all the way there. Then the thread tension for that stitch shows off to the side. Arrow up, I know it's opposite, until thread tension actually highlights. Then you can use the arrows to the right or to the left to make it higher or lower, depending on what your result is needing to be. If you find you are going to find that one touch to the side only changes it by 2.2 difference. So when I always change tension, you're going to see me change it from like 3.2 to 4.2. I raised it one whole number so I can actually see what it looks like. And then I can go ahead and test it out and see how it looks. You can actually sew from the screen that is on this thread tension settings. So here you could actually come in and make more or less adjustments as you go. When done, touch OK and then arrow down until you see the two arrows at the bottom of the screen. See how we went all the way down the list and now these arrows are back? That means we can use the arrows right and left to go ahead and come back to our main sewing screen. So just a little reminder, we went ahead and went to the settings, touched up to highlight the thread tension area. I'm going to put my tension back to normal or where I want it. Touch OK, and then arrow down until you get the 2 arrows in the toolbox area. Now you can come back to the foot area to sew from that screen. I know that will take just a little second to kind of figure out. If you wanted to just clear out everything, of course you could turn the machine off and turn it back on. But if you're actually in the settings to change tension, for example, again, arrow up, change it up to a higher number, confirm it, arrow down until you find the toolbox with the arrows in it, and arrow to the right. That is the easiest way to get into settings, change the tension, and then get out of this settings area.